We think we could do that, and then okay, I think we're good now. Okay. So hi guys, it's Esquilax. So today I'm going to be doing something that's just a little bit different. I'm just gonna be talking about Star Wars: The Last Jedi, and yeah, I mean I guess we'll just kind of like get right into it. We'll talk about it. We're gonna be playing Star Wars: Knights of the Old Republic because I feel as though it's probably the most fitting, I suppose. So yeah, we're gonna be playing this game for a little bit, and we're just gonna be doing whatever. We're gonna be talking about Star Wars: The Last Jedi, a little bit of like a review, I suppose, kind of just discussing The Last Jedi, my personal feelings about it. It's been, gosh, I don't know when The Last Jedi came out, but it feels like it's been some time now since The Last Jedi came out. And now I feel like as though maybe I'm ready to give my actual thoughts about The Last Jedi, and just a little bit about what I think about the movie, about the film and whatnot. So yeah, we'll just get right into it. I'm gonna be completely blunt, at least as blunt as I can be. I did not enjoy the movie. That's just me. Now I know there's a lot of people that enjoyed the movie. I know I had a lot of friends that really did enjoy the movie, and had a lot of fun with it. But I personally did not. So again, that's just me. I didn't like the movie at all, but I know that there's some friends that I have that actually enjoyed the movie. That's them, and if they enjoyed the movie, then honestly, more power to them. I mean, I'm happy that they enjoyed the movie because, I mean, why should you not enjoy the movie? But um, just for me, I didn't enjoy the movie at all. Like, I know I'm not making a lot of sense per se. I know I'm not. I really, really know I'm not. But what I'm trying to say is that I don't think the movie really the movie didn't really do it for me. And I'm not saying it didn't do it for me because I wasn't like it's just the thing is that the movie was gosh, I don't want to say it was bad, but it kind of was bad. Like if I'm being completely honest. I know. If I'm being completely honest, I know the movie wasn't like okay, I shouldn't say I know. I just don't think the movie was great. I don't think the movie was spectacular. It just didn't do anything for me. I just didn't enjoy the movie. I didn't find the movie entertaining. I didn't find it fun. Um, it was the pacing was. I mean, I don't want to say it was all over the place or anything because I don't think that certainly is the case. At least here, um, it just sort of. I'm trying to figure out how to access my because I haven't played this game in like 15,000 years. That's that. The movie just didn't do it for me. It really didn't. No, I don't want to sit down. Um, and for me, that's like the biggest thing is that the movie just didn't. Okay, okay, this is seriously like really strange. I'm trying to figure out. I'm clicking like every button I could click. It's not F. It's not G. I'm trying to click my skills because I'm trying to get to the fleet. Here we go. Okay. Emergency fleet cooldown 3 hours. Whoa, hold on a second. Okay. Do we want to do that? Is there any way we could actually get to the what's it called? Where do we need to go? Oh yeah, we could just get to the shuttle over here. Okay, yeah. So my thing is that the movie just didn't do it for me, right? And it's very difficult from at least in my opinion, right? It's very difficult to actually talk about a movie like The Last Jedi without actually going to spoiler territory and without talking about spoilers, right? So that's something I feel like I have to do just because the movie isn't again, I just think it's difficult to talk about. Like, I can't say, oh yeah, like the movie was a great film, and I can't say the movie was like a horrendous film. But I do think, again, I don't think I had fun with it. I mean, if you like the film, then I guess I could kind of understand why you enjoyed the film. Sure. I just didn't enjoy the film at all. So that's just me. Um, I did not enjoy the film. I'm losing my train of thought so much, but I didn't enjoy the film for several reasons, and one of the main reasons why I didn't enjoy the film is just because I think if you think about something like Star Wars, right? Star Wars has been around at least since 2017. It's been around for about 40 years now, right? About 41 years now because it's 2018. But for the most part, though, right? people have been, at least a lot of Star Wars fans, have sort of been growing up with this idea or have been living with this idea of what we expect characters to be like, right? So we expect Luke Skywalker to kind of be sort of, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you guys tell me, like, what do you guys expect Luke Skywalker to be like, right? But in my opinion, right, like, I wouldn't think Luke Skywalker would do half the things he did in that film, right? Because that's just not Luke Skywalker. Like, that just isn't characteristic of who Luke Skywalker is and who Luke Skywalker sort of ends up becoming throughout the course of the original trilogy, right? And I think that's actually somewhat sad because he ends up becoming something that's completely different than what he ends up being. Like when you watch the original trilogy, he has a very defined character arc, right? In the sense that he comes from being a very sort of nobody farm boy, but obviously, of course, we know that of course he's not nobody, right? I mean, obviously, of course, he's the son of Anakin Skywalker, who is perhaps arguably one of the greatest Jedi who ever was, right? And so we have that to kind of like draw from. But at the same time, though, right, there's a lot of other things that are sort of like, you know, it's just Luke Skywalker is very shy, right? I mean, he's very perhaps unsure of himself, and he doesn't really have a lot of confidence, right? And so he kind of goes into everything, right? He's reluctant to kind of go and throw himself into the greater galaxy and become part of this greater conflict that is this galactic civil war that's been raging for the past several years now, right, against the Empire. He hates the Empire, but again, he's reluctant to do anything that goes against the Empire just because, again, he's just, I mean, who is he? I mean, he's just a very shy farm boy and everything, right? So there's a lot of things that make Luke Skywalker a very hesitant and reluctant character, right? And he just doesn't really want to go into it, right? And the thing is that he's forced into it through the actions of the Empire, right? Like the Empire forces his hand. So because he ends up, is this just all warrior stuff? Because he ends up, there's some Inquisitor stuff as well. I don't know what you could buy here, but I don't think I can get. No, I can't get any of this stuff. It'd be cool if I could, but no, I can't get any of this stuff. But because the Empire sort of forces his hand, right? Like he loses everything. Like his aunt and uncle are just completely killed, right? So they're dead, and once they're dead, he has no reason to stay behind. He has no reason to stay on Tatooine. He could go ahead and leave his farm and perhaps maybe even become a little bit more than just a farm boy, right? And so, what is this? Dread Mystic's robes. So he becomes something a little bit more than just like a farm boy or whatever, right? And I think that's really important in the context of Star Wars, and at least in the context of his own character development, is that he becomes more than who he is in the beginning of the film, right? And so he changes, and obviously he evolves over time. And again, like I said, that's vitally important for a character such as Luke Skywalker. Light devotees, gosh, this light devotee stuff doesn't look nearly as cool as that dark side stuff. Okay, so you can get a robe without the hood. But yeah, so he undergoes a character development, but the character development isn't like, okay, never mind. They actually, but still though, it doesn't look nearly as cool. And so he does undergo a character development, which is very important for someone like Luke. And so he goes from being someone who's essentially nobody into someone who has this very important role within the rebellion, right? He becomes, like a Jedi, or at least a Jedi in training, and then he becomes like a Master Jedi. I mean, okay, he doesn't become like a Master Jedi like right away, because Yoda's always like, oh, only when you face Vader will you actually become like a Jedi, or whatever, right? And so Luke has to face Vader in order to become a Jedi. And so Luke faces Vader, and he sort of has this arrogance maybe of himself that he could do whatever it is that he wants to do, because he is very powerful, and he ends up getting defeated in episode 5. So he has this really like low point, and then he ends up having a very high point in episode 6 where he sort of like redeems his father, right? So you have this character arc, and it's not too late for Rey to have a character arc either. I mean, I'm not saying that Rey can't have a character arc. I'm just saying that if you look at Luke Skywalker and who Luke Skywalker is as a character and all the stuff he has to go through, it just doesn't make sense that Luke would do half the stuff that he does in episode 6. I mean, I'm sorry, in episode 8, right? So, for example, in my opinion, one of the most egregious things that the film does, or at least Rian Johnson does, in Star Wars Episode 8, is when Luke Skywalker is handed the lightsaber, right? Is handed his father's lightsaber, right? When Rey gives him his father's lightsaber, that's one of the most egregious things that happens because he just throws it away, and it's like I just don't feel like Luke would do that because there's so much sentimental value in that lightsaber, right? There's so much stuff vested in that lightsaber. Like, this is the lightsaber of his father, right? Who he redeemed at the end of episode 6, right? And then this is the lightsaber that was given to him by Ben Kenobi at the beginning of episode 4, right? And like, there's just so much going on for Luke in that, like in that lightsaber, there's so much going on. And then just for him to throw it away, it just sort of, it just doesn't feel right. Like, it's just something, like, it's something that perhaps shouldn't happen, right? Like why should that happen, you know? I don't know, man. Like, I just don't think that's cool. Like, I really don't think that's cool. I don't like that at all. I don't like that he threw it away. I know that I have a lot of other friends that say, "Oh yeah, like that's completely BS," because he wouldn't do that. Like, it just feels like Luke would never do that as a character. And I think one of the other things as well is that from maybe like a certain point of view, is that I know a lot of people are saying stuff like, "Oh well, you guys have this sort of idealized version of who Luke Skywalker is and who he should be, right? And when you watch the film and your expectations aren't necessarily met, or he ends up becoming someone completely different, then you become disappointed." And I don't think that's necessarily it at all, actually. I really don't. I think that one of the things is that we have this idea in our head because there is essentially 40 plus years, well, not 40 plus years, there's about 40 years, maybe give or take. Actually, there's maybe, I would say, at least a good solid like 35 years, right, worth of expanded universe content, right, that although it's not canon, is still based off of, right, the events that happen in the movie, right? Like, they still have a fundamental basis in in what happens in the movie. So again, like, you still have like all this precedent of basically like, oh, this is what Luke should do, this is what Luke ought to do, like, as a character, right? And that's, I think that's a really huge thing. Enter now. And I think that's like a really big thing, is that we have this idea of who Luke is as a character and who he should be and how he should act as an individual, right? And when that's completely thrown out of the window, it's sort of like, we just don't like that. Like, I become very disappointed. Like, I can't speak to all the other Star Wars fans, but I don't like it. I become disappointed. I'm just sort of like, man, like, that really sucks. Like, I think they don't, I mean, it's not that they don't understand Luke's character, because I'm sure they do. It's just, like, would Luke really do that? And I'm not really so sure, man. Like, I really don't think Luke would do that stuff. So that's just me. Like, that's my opinion about it. You know, people can think differently and say different stuff about it, but I mean, in my opinion, you just there's some things that Luke simply wouldn't do. All the other stuff about him basically like being a coward and like backing away from the Jedi and basically like going into hiding and stuff, like, I don't really mind. I mean, like, I think that makes sense. Like, that's a little bit understandable, right? That he would do that. I mean, he's going through this like very traumatic event, and if we're being honest, Luke wasn't ever very, I mean, he always had help from other people, so it makes sense that when that help is sort of gone or taken away from him, or it's no longer present, and he really becomes to take the mantle of responsibility, if you will, into himself, then things become a little bit different, and he might be susceptible to making like rash mistakes and all these different errors and whatnot. So I mean, for me at least, it makes sense that he would go ahead and just sort of you know, basically shy away from things and sort of like become a little bit more secluded. Like that makes sense. Um, but as far as just throwing away the lightsaber, I just don't like that because that's something that has been sort of built up for a very long time now. Basically, since the end of the Force Awakens, and they kind of just threw it all away, in my opinion. You know, I mean, I don't think that that was the best way to kind of go about it. Um, and I mean, they did, which I mean, I don't mind. I guess I mean, like I don't know. I mean, I clearly I mind because I'm talking about it right now, right? But still, I mean, I guess you get the point, maybe. I'm not really sure. It's just like yeah, like we have this idea of what Luke should be like, and then that's just taken away from us. Um, and yeah, I mean, I really don't like that. I really don't like that that idea is sort of taken away. And the same thing happens with Yoda to a certain degree as well. Is that Yoda has this character where he just sort of seems out of character in the film. And to be honest, I don't think Yoda needs to be in the film. Um, I really don't. In my personal opinion, I think Yoda is a little bit of a waste because what does he really do to the film? Oh no. I'm trying to get out of this, but I don't think I'll be able to. We'll see, we'll see, we'll see. No, he went the other way. Okay, yeah, we got out of the way. I'm not really too sure what the objective of this map is, to be completely honest. But yeah, I felt like Yoda was a missed opportunity. I mean, I don't think he was a missed opportunity. I just don't think he should have been in the film. Like, I don't think he's necessary to be in the film. And I think that one of the things is that he kind of deceives Luke. And for me, it's just sort of like, why does he, like, does he really need to do that? Like, does he really need to deceive Luke in the way that he does? Because he's basically like, okay, yeah, Luke, like, the stuff that like all that ancient Jedi esoteric knowledge stuff like is unimportant, right? Like those books and stuff, like you need to leave it behind. It's not important. It doesn't really matter anymore. If you're trying to make a statement about letting go of the past, then I think they went and made that statement, and it's like, okay, you guys made that statement, whatever, fine. But I just don't think that like I don't know. I think they could have done it in a better way than what they did. I'm trying to figure out what the overall objective is of this is. Um, I know we gotta feel like we gotta maintain control of this point right here, but I'm genuinely trying to figure out like how to get to the other point because these maps are very like unintuitive, to be honest. Like, let's see, because it looks like there's really no way to get around to the other side. I mean, maybe there is. Let's see. What's this? I guess these are power-ups. I'm not sure. I'm probably gonna get myself killed right now, but we'll see. Do we need this location? I don't know. I really have no idea what's going on. I'm just gonna... It took me a long time to like actually like click on that person. Oh jeez. I'm probably gonna die here, but it's okay. Yeah. Um, yeah, but I don't know. This map's really strange. I guess I've never played on some of these Warzone maps before, but yeah, I mean, again, like I said, it's one of those things where it's like, Yoda doesn't need to be in the film because okay, so what happens is that in the film, Yoda is basically talking to Luke, right? Because Luke is basically kind of like, oh man, I gotta, I don't know. It's like, because I think what happens is I'm not completely sure, but I think Luke wants to save the books because I'm not sure what's going on. Like it's really strange. Like Luke wants to destroy the books one moment and then the next moment he wants to save the books. And it's like I don't want to say it's like make up your mind, because it's not like that, but it's just more or less like, you know, like I don't know. And then why would Yoda even tell him like, oh yeah, don't worry about the books, like just go ahead and like destroy the books and all that. Like I know obviously of course the books don't get destroyed, right? Because Yoda's like Yoda actually saves the books technically. Well, Yoda doesn't save the books because Rey saves the books, but Yoda basically lies to Luke and is like, oh yeah, don't worry about saving the books because the books aren't important. Like they're not page turners and stuff. And for me, I'm sort of like, that's not. Is that something like Yoda would say? Like, would Yoda really say that? I mean, I know he's lying technically, right? Because he's not really meaning it to a certain degree. But still, though, I mean, it's just sort of like, I just don't think that's necessary for them to like take Yoda in that direction, I suppose. Um, as a character, I don't really know. I'm trying to think and play at the same time, and as you guys probably know, it's not a very good combination for me because that's not my strong suit at all. So I'm not good at playing games and playing at the same time. How many turns do we have? I think we're doing good. I mean, we control the main turret, so that's always good. That's always good. But yeah, looks like there's 3 coming down here. I really want to get a cool lightsaber color because I've been having yellow for quite some time now. Um, but I do like this yellow color. It is nice. Probably should get a new hilt though. Let's intercept these guys. Oh my goodness, my health is like completely gone. I think this guy's dead though. I think we could kill this guy right now. Maybe? I'm not sure. Trying to kill him. No, I don't think I don't think I got like the killing blow on him or whatever. Which is rather unfortunate. No, I think our team is doing well though. I think our team is doing very, very, very well. Let's see. Heal ourselves up. We should taunt this Sith pureblood because he's a Sith pureblood, but he's playing on the side of the Republic, which I don't know, is whatever. Oh, now he knows. Now he knows. Now he knows. Oh, jeez. Trying to figure out how I want to do this. No, I'm dead. Yeah. There was just no way I was gonna be able to do that. There literally wasn't any way. I wasn't able to. But I delayed him for a little bit though. I was doing it because I was like, oh man, like I have this power up and stuff, and so, but we'll see. I could probably get revenge on him right now though. Cause there he is. There he is. There he is. There he is. He's dead. He was a fool, unfortunately. But yeah, like I said, there's just a lot of stuff where it's like, dude, you know what? Like, honestly, I don't think like Luke Skywalker would do that. I don't think, a lot of these other things would do like whatever. But I think like, okay, so breaking away from just what a character would do and how certain characters would act from the original trilogy, one of the things is that a lot of people that watch Star Wars The Last Jedi and praise it for being so different is that they say, oh man, like the movie, it does so many things differently, or that there's so many little surprises and twists in the film that are just so unexpected, right? And it's like, yeah, but like doing something unexpected doesn't mean it's going to be a good movie. Like doing something unexpected doesn't mean it's going to be a great film. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means that, okay, they're defying your expectations. Like you expect one thing to happen and then it doesn't happen, right? Like you expect Snoke to be like this crazy bad guy who's going to, do some stuff, right? Like you expect an origin story for Snoke, and then that stuff doesn't really happen, and then Snoke just ends up getting killed like right away and in a very unsatisfying way. Like we were never really attached to Snoke. Like Snoke's pretty much just a head in Star Wars: The Force Awakens, right? And then he just ends up dying very unceremoniously, and it's very much so a letdown because Snoke just he's a very mysterious character, right? I mean, we don't really know a whole heck of a lot about him, and then he just ends up dying, and yeah, it's just very disappointing the way he dies because he doesn't really do anything in the movie. I mean, yeah, he does stuff, but he just doesn't have an impactful role, I think, um, in the movie, and I think that plays to the detriment of his character in a lot of ways. Uh, I don't think we did too terribly bad. I don't think we did. I mean, I know we didn't do well, but uh, yeah. I voted for the bottom person as being MVP, because why not? Why not? Exit Warzone, and then we'll just hop back into another one right now, because, I mean, why not? But yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, just because you're doing something unexpected doesn't mean that you're doing something that's like the right thing to do. Doesn't mean it's going to be a great film, right? And what I think you end up sacrificing is a good cohesive story. I'm not saying that the story is incohesive, because the story makes sense, right? That's not, I suppose, what I'm trying to say. I should probably rephrase my words. But that doesn't mean you're going to make a great film just because you're doing something that someone doesn't expect, right? And like I wouldn't even say that these are plot twists per se, because they don't feel like there's something that's like just completely crazy, right? Like, so okay, so what if Snoke dies? Like honestly, like Snoke dies in a way, but it's just like it just doesn't feel satisfying because we don't know Snoke enough. We don't see his influence enough in the movie. And you could say, okay, yes, we see his influence in the film so many times, right? Like just look at what he does with Rey and Kylo, right? He basically brings the two together, and he even admits that what he's doing is just going out there and he's essentially bringing Kylo Ren and Rey together, and he's basically like, I don't know, he's doing something with their minds and he's allowing them to basically communicate telepathically with each other. It's just like, I don't know, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, okay, it makes sense, right? I'm not saying it doesn't make any sense, but what I'm saying is that he doesn't really do anything. Like, he's just the leader of the First Order. Other than that, that's basically it. Is he really a Sith? Well, I guess so, because he's using like Force lightning and stuff, so we could assume that he's a Sith. But we really don't. It just all he does in the movie is sit in a chair. I mean, that's all he really does. Like, at least the Emperor in Episode 6, at least he gets up, right? Like, at least he gets up and walks around and shoots lightning, right? And does things, right? And Snoke just doesn't do any of that. Like, he just dies. Like, the lightsaber's right there, right? It gets turned on him, and he just gets killed. That's all that happens. And then the Praetorian Guards just turn around, and they start attacking. The Praetorian Guards are awful, by the way, right? Um, but yeah, and then the Praetorian Guards just kind of like go up and start fighting them and stuff. And it's like, guys, like, come on, like, are you like get real, man? I don't know. I just I just didn't like it at all. Just the way Snoke dies is it's just so anticlimactic, right? The way he dies, it's so not cool. You know what I mean? It's so not cool, and he dies that way, and he dies that way, and it's like just, dude, dude. If he didn't die that way, like who knows? I don't know. I don't know. I have like my own idea of how I think the Force Awakens should have gone, or not the Force Awakens, the Last Jedi should have gone, but I might talk about that like in another video or something like that. But the way Snoke dies is completely unsatisfying. One of my biggest complaints personally is that everything in the film is basically revolving around the resistance trying to get away from the First Order, the First Order basically chasing the resistance, and that's all it is. It's just one intergalactic chase scene. And so everything is tied back to that scene. But it's happening at such a slow pace. It's so stupid because it's like, okay, we're running out of fuel. We can't really go into hyperspace. So we just continue going forward in space. Like, I don't know. Like they just keep going along a path, right? And they're just trying to figure out like what to do, and then they send Rose and Finn out to go do this like stupid mission on Canto Bight, which is awful. It's like one of the worst parts of the film, and it's like that whole Canto Bight thing is just completely unnecessary. I freaking hated it. I'm pretty sure a lot of other people hated it as well, but it was just awful. But the worst thing again though is that everything was tied back to that scene. You know, so like in the back of your mind, it's like, oh yeah, they're just doing this because they got to go back and get fuel for these people. You know, it's like, okay, they're not getting fuel for these people because what they're basically doing instead is they're trying to get the code guy to basically bring him back so he could break into the Sith ship and then just basically destroy the Sith ship from inside and stop them from being tracked and stuff. And it's like, it's just so stupid. It's just because it just all goes back into them being chased. That's all it is. So that's like in the back of your mind. And for me, like I remember watching the film and thinking, yeah, like that's what this film is going to be about, right? Like that's what's going to happen is that these people are going to be trapped and they can't really do anything. And what's going to be overshadowing the entire film, it's like a cloud, right? Is the fact that no matter where they go, what happens, you still have these guys being chased, and the movie has to resolve that, right? Like that has to be resolved before the film could go anywhere else, right? And the film never goes anywhere else. Like yes, it goes to Crate, right? But that's only at like what the final third of the film, you know? And it's so stupid. It's kind of like it's just like it's like that plot point needs to be resolved, and it never gets resolved until the end of the film. It doesn't get resolved until the end of the film, and the film could go to so many other places. The film could be so much more adventurous, but instead no, they decide what they want to do instead is stay on that one scene, right? Have all these other people doing all these different things, but you're always going back to the one scene, and it's so slow and it's so monotonous. And like I get it, I understand that if they want to go ahead and go for this thing of like imposing doom, right? Like it's inevitable, right? That they're just going to go ahead and die. It's only a matter of time, but it's gonna be slow. But again, it's just only a matter of time. Like I get it if they want to do that, but there's so many ways that they could have executed that so much better, right? And does that really have to take the entire film? Because if you sum it up, you could basically sum up that movie as basically just the resistance trying to get away from the First Order. That's all it is. That's really all it is. And like I'm sorry, but it's the truth. Like that's what the movie is. And you could say, oh, it's about all these other things, but it's like, man, dude, like they could have done so many other things. They could have done the things like so much differently than what they did. And no, instead they decided to go with what it is that they went with, and it's so disappointing. It really, really is. You have that whole Leia scene. I don't, you know, when she's like floating through space, it's whatever. I mean, I think people are making a really big deal about it. I get it. I don't like it either. I really don't like it. I think it's awful. I think it sucks. It's horrible. But there's the film has so many other issues. There are greater issues in that film than that one scene. And I think one of the issues again in the film is just the story. The story is just awful. I don't know. And like, does Luke really have to project himself at the end of the movie? You know, like, does he really have to project himself? Like, wouldn't it be a million times more meaningful if Luke actually went there himself, right, and like sacrificed himself and let the resistance escape? Like that would be a much more meaningful death rather than Luke basically force projecting himself into that area, right? Having this really short duel with Kylo Ren. It isn't even really a duel. And then Kylo Ren realizing that it's just a projection, a hologram, not a hologram, it's just a projection. And then Luke being all the way back on that one planet and just going into the Force, becoming one with the Force, I suppose. Right? Like there's so many ways that they could have made that scene better, but instead they went with what they went with, and it's just, again, it's just so, I just think it's a poor choice. I really think that that was just a poor choice in terms of where they could have taken the story of the film, um, and the direction that they've taken it. So that's just me. I know I was very inconclusive. I don't want to say inconclusive, but I know I wasn't sounding like I was making a lot of sense. But um, for the entire time, like, I was just rambling on and talking about how these characters shouldn't be this the way they are. But again, and people are like, they're talking about like plot twists, like, oh, it was so unexpected. There's a difference between doing something that's like unexpected, but that's something that's right, and doing something that's unexpected but like wrong. And what they did was, it was unexpected, but it was wrong. It was wrong what they did, right? Like they just didn't do it the right way. Like I wasn't shocked when Snoke died. Well, like when Snoke died, I wasn't shocked because they didn't. In my mind, they didn't do enough with Snoke to make him an impactful character. Like in my opinion, like he means nothing, because, okay, first of all, because just the way he dies, it's a disgrace for him as a character, right? Secondly, he has almost no character development, right? Like, okay, so in the EU, they could go ahead and make his character different in the books all they want, right? All they want, they can make his character different. But I think it's just, for the most part, right? It's just, it doesn't do anything. It's like okay, he's there, he's the leader of the First Order, but in the Force Awakens, he's just basically a talking head. You don't really get to know too much about him, but you assume that he's relatively powerful, right? And then in the Last Jedi, he displays some of his powers, but then he just ends up getting blindsided and killed. So it's like, it's more like a give and take. It's like you give him all these powers, but then you take away a lot of his decency as a character, I suppose, just because he dies in this awful way. Um, that just really sucks. Um, and so his death is completely meaningless. It's like unimpactful. So that really sucks. And then what else? What else? What else? What else? What else? Um, I'm trying to think. I can't really think of anything else right now to really complain about the movie. Um, I'm trying my best. Why is it taking so long to get queued? I could go ahead and do these flashpoints all by myself, which is essentially what I'm doing. But stories locked out. Can I buy anything out of Galactic Command? Um, but yeah, I mean, like I said, I just think there's a lot of things that they could have done differently in the movie. Um, and overall, it just felt very disappointing. I felt disappointed, at least. So, but yeah, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Does that look cool? I don't know. I'm probably just gonna end this right now because I just don't really know what else to talk about. Um, but yeah, I just felt like it was just disappointing. There's really nothing to it. I think we have to probably be genuinely concerned a little bit now about the future of the Star Wars franchise, because it's like, honestly, like, where's it gonna go? Like, I hear this Han Solo movie isn't going too terribly great. Um, so I don't know where they're going with that. I don't know, because it's like, I don't know. From what I understand, it's not going too terribly great, and Disney are sort of already bracing for for like the impact of the movie, like when it comes out and when it just like completely crashes, I guess, because they're expecting it to kind of crash and go south. So we'll see, we'll see, we'll see, we'll see. I'm trying to figure out where they have the vendors for, because I do believe it is the 6th anniversary of Star Wars: The Old Republic. Uh, and so I'm trying to figure out where they have the vendor for the anniversary. If I could find it. I don't know if I could find it. Oh, I finally got into a war zone. Now we could play. Um. Oh, here we go. Um. Okay, I found this thread, and so some guy with a Celestian avatar said, "Where's the vendor?" And then this guy's like, "If it's like past years, you won't be able to miss it." Oh well, yippee! I guess we'll just have to go through and look around and figure out where this vendor guy is. So we'll see, we'll see, we'll see, we'll see, we'll see where he's at. If we are able to find him, I don't know. But yeah, so I'm a little bit concerned about where the Star Wars franchise is gonna go. This is gonna be my last game, and then I'll go ahead and I'll just end the stream because there's really nothing else to really say. Um. So yeah. Yep. 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 Let's see. What should we wear? Currently equipped gear. I could wear my currently equipped stuff. I could wear this. Could wear this. We'll just do currently equipped right now, cause why not? I am Sith. What's that? There's this one really cool quote from Count Dooku, where it's like, "You may wear the trappings of the Sith, the armor of the Sith, but Sith have no fear, and I sense much fear in you." And it's just a really cool quote. It's from the original Star Wars Clone Wars animated series from like 2003. It's a really cool quote. It's one of my favorite quotes from that show. I'm going to die. Am I going to die? Okay. Maybe not. Maybe not. Yeah, I died. Okay. I thought maybe I could try and like save myself, but I guess I couldn't. Oh, I can't go through yet. How much time do I have until I get to go through? Okay. 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 Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. But yeah, it's just a really cool quote, and I'm not like. Here's the thing: is that there's a lot of people that are like, "Oh, Star Wars. These Star Wars fans are so hard to please." It's like, no, we're not hard to please. It's just we want a good Star Wars film that feels like a Star Wars film. And I'm not gonna lie, like The Force Awakens just doesn't. Okay, The Force Awakens feels like a Star Wars film. And when I first watched The Force Awakens, I was a little bit like, hey, like this movie's pretty good. And then I watched it, and then after a little bit, I was like, yeah, the movie's not so great. I still don't think it's a bad film. Like I think it's still pretty good, right? Um, but watching Star Wars: The Last Jedi now makes me kind of go back and reevaluate The Force Awakens, and I'm sort of like, dude, The Force Awakens actually isn't a bad film. Like The Force Awakens actually is really really good when you compare it to just how bad The Last Jedi is. Like The Last Jedi is just bad. It's one of those movies where, in my opinion, right, it makes um all the other movies around it look good. Um, and I don't know. I guess that's saying something. Like seriously though, like the Justice League movie looks so good, right? It looks so good compared to gosh, we really overcommitted to that kill, didn't we? The Justice League movie looks so good, right? Compared to The Force Awakens. I mean, The Last Jedi. I keep saying The Force Awakens. Oh jeez, I don't know what's going on. I don't think we're winning, but oh. Well, I don't know what that was, but yeah, I mean, it's just it's one of those things where it's like you watch it and you're like, man, this movie's bad, and then you watch like a bunch of other films and it's like, oh yeah, like all these other films are actually pretty good just because of how bad. Like it lowers the standards in my opinion. It's just so bad, man. Come on, like how do you mess up a Star Wars film that bad? And one of the other things is that people were basically saying, "Oh yeah, well you guys hated the Force Awakens because it was too much like the original Star Wars films, and yet when you get something that's completely different, you guys hate it too." It's like it's not that. It's just you want something that's like a good mixture of something that's like brand new and something that feels like Star Wars, right? Like I didn't like Rogue One because I personally thought that it felt like it just didn't feel like a Star Wars movie. That's just me. Um, and yeah, I mean, it just didn't feel like a Star Wars movie. And I don't like this new movie because it doesn't feel like a Star Wars movie either. And these two are completely different films. Rogue One and The Last Jedi. They're two completely different films. So, I'm not doing good in this game. I might just leave this game because I'm not. I'm doing awful. And for what? For what? What am I doing this for? I don't know what I'm doing this for. I guess I'm just doing it to have fun, but we're just beating like we're just getting completely like raffle stomped, I guess. Oh no, no, that's it. Yeah. No, I might leave this because we can't. Yeah, we can't do anything. I just gotta figure out how to leave. I think I just press this and then I might be good to go. Because I really don't want to waste my time with this. But yeah, I'll just give my closing thoughts. I think the film's bad. I don't like it. I didn't enjoy it. Um, and yeah, it's just not an enjoyable film. So that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm gonna try and leave the war zone if I can. Um, let's see. I just gotta figure out how. I just gotta figure out how. Just gotta figure out how, and then I could go ahead and leave. Okay, there we go. I left. I left. Okay, yeah. So thanks, guys, for watching. I know I didn't really do too much. I literally just went into one flashpoint, and that's pretty much it. It wasn't even a flashpoint. It's just some stupid duel. I don't know. It's whatever. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you guys later. That's just my opinion. But yeah. So see you guys around.